Grandma, listen for a second. There's a weird noise coming from the storage room. When my granddaughter, Olivia, said this, I headed to the room that was supposed to be my workshop. Suddenly, I heard voices. It was my husband, Tom, and my daughter-in-law, Lily. Thank you, Tom. James is so stingy. He won't even give me a single piece of jewelry. No, if something like this is fine, Lily, I'll give you as much as you want. In return. I felt a surge of anger rising within me. 30 minutes later. My eldest son, James, looked at the situation and said to me, "Hey, Mom. Can you leave this to me? I've been keeping an eye on him, but I couldn't get any solid evidence." This is perfect. With that, James smiled slyly. My name is Sophia. I'm a 65-year-old housewife. I've been doing handicrafts as a hobby and for practical purposes for a long time, and now I'm also working as a handcraft artist. My husband, Tom, is 68. After retiring from his company, he found a new job at a friend's company. We have 2 sons, both of whom are independent and have their own families, and we spend our days interacting with each of them. However, we have a few problems. The biggest issue is that Tom doesn't understand my passion and livelihood for handcrafts at all. I've loved embroidery and knitting since I was a child. My interest in handcrafts stemmed from that. It became my job when my sons were in elementary school. At one point, Tom got so sick he had to take a leave of absence, and our household income dropped significantly. While taking care of him, I looked for a job that could supplement our income and found that home-based work suited me best. I have always loved intricate work and can get lost in it, so I quickly became skilled. My clients started introducing me to more tasks, and eventually, I was encouraged to participate in an accessory-making class. By the time Tom returned to work, I had become an assistant for one of the classes. Tom still thinks that was just a part-time job. As time passed, I moved from being an assistant to a lecturer and eventually took charge of my own class. However, as my class hours increased, it surpassed what Tom considered part-time work. And I thought that was a bit of a problem. Tom, who expected me to do housework properly, didn't like me working more than part-time hours. Around that time, our life had stabilized with Tom's return to work, so I decided to become a home-based craft artist. Around that time, the internet was becoming a viable platform for advertising and selling. Initially, I used blogs and later photocentric social media to showcase my work. Before long, I had become a well-known craft artist in that community. But Tom couldn't understand that at all. To him, it seemed like I was just having fun playing alone at home after quitting my part-time job. For instance, there was this incident. We were living in a modest-sized apartment. When we had our 2 sons, I didn't have a room of my own. Even after they left for college, Tom took over their room as his study, leaving me with the kitchen as my only workspace, just like when I was doing home-based work. Well, the kitchen table was just the right size. However, when Tom found out, his reaction was terrible. I had spread out the small parts of ordered accessories on the table to dry, but he got angry and threw them all on the floor. I hurried to pick them up, but the carefully made parts were scattered, and I had to start over. I explained the situation to the customer and managed to extend the deadline, avoiding any major issues. From then on, I became very sensitive to Tom's return home. I was always dissatisfied. Why did I have to work so secretly? This feeling smoldered within me for a long time. After our 2 sons got married, there was nothing to bridge the gap between me and Tom, and we just continued our separate lives. I worked on my projects when Tom wasn't around, making sure not to leave any traces, while perfectly managing the housework and pretending to be a full-time housewife. Tom had no interest in our finances, so he didn't know I was earning a decent income. Having never filed a tax return himself, he wasn't interested in our savings either. So, in Tom's eyes, I probably looked like a parasitic housewife wasting money on my hobby. As time passed, Tom retired from the company he had worked for his entire career. He quickly found a job with a friend where he could go every day. Although the income was much lower than before. Still, he probably wanted to avoid spending his days facing me. Around that time, our eldest son, James, came over with his wife, Lily, and brought up an idea. They planned to build a new house not far from our apartment. It's about time we started worrying about you guys since you're getting older. Exactly. We'd be so happy if you could be there, too, Tom. Oh, really? Tom was always soft on Lily. He always looked pleased when she said something. After agreeing, I started discussing finances with James. Our sons knew that I was more reliable than Tom for discussing significant amounts of money. James and Henry had once questioned how they could attend private universities without applying for scholarships. When they started working and understood the value of money, they asked me how much savings we had, how much their education cost, and where the money came from. I told them, "Don't tell your father," and explained what I was doing. Most of their tuition came from my earnings. Both of them were amazed and praised me, which I appreciated. That's probably why those two were like that. Even after getting married, they often visited us. James's daughter, Olivia, especially loved beautiful things and always admired my creations when she came over. However, when I offered to give her something she liked, Olivia always shook her head, saying her mom wouldn't like it. Lily was somewhat of a tricky person for me to deal with. Her outward appearance isn't bad at all. However, from what Olivia tells me, there's something about her that I just can't trust. Mom likes these delicate and shiny accessories too. If I take them, she'll say they suit her better and take them away. That itself was hard to believe, but Olivia continued. And she's so careless that I can see her breaking them right away. So Olivia lamented that she couldn't buy shiny things even for everyday use. I was astonished at such childish behavior towards a child who loves cute, sparkly things. Even if I wanted to point it out, Lily always put on a good face towards me and never slipped up. However, she was always very friendly with Tom. I didn't know what her goal was, but whenever she came over, she would always flatter Tom and satisfy his vanity. It was around that time that the idea of building a new house came up. James said something that made me very happy. We've put you through a lot, Mom, so we're planning to set aside a workspace for you in the new house. Really? But is that okay? Yeah. It's close by, so you can go whenever you like, right? I was genuinely happy with James's words. The work I had been doing secretly, which was my passion, was now being acknowledged by my son. Even though I had some social recognition, it was hard not being acknowledged by the closest family member. As the house was completed and James's family was halfway through their move, I decided to move my tools and materials into the workshop. However, I found it already piled high with boxes. What on earth was going on? I asked Lily. Lily, wasn't this room prepared for me by James? She looked at me as if it was nothing and said, Well, mother-in-law, we still need a lot of things, so isn't it normal to have a storage room? But James specifically prepared this room for me from the planning stage. Didn't he tell you that? He did, but he's never complained about what I say. Leaving behind this baseless comment, Lily added, We still have a lot of unpacking to do, and walked away. I stood at the entrance of the room that was supposed to be my workshop, stunned. The boxes were piled up like a mountain near the entrance, as if to prevent me from entering. Eventually, the unpacking was done, and a housewarming garden party began. The attendees included James's family, who owned the house, us, Henry and his wife, and James's friends. I wanted to talk to James about the workshop, but there was never an opportunity. Even during the party, Tom and Lily ignored me and avoided the topic altogether. Lily was supposed to prepare the food for the garden party. However, when Tom said, You should help her, it ended up being me who did most of the cooking. I couldn't participate in the party and was just making and serving food the whole time. Lily has guests to entertain, unlike you. You, who can only cook, should stay out of the way. That's all Tom would say. I silently cooked and carried the dishes, repeating the process. In the midst of this, Olivia suddenly came into the kitchen. She had a rather complicated expression, so I asked, "What's wrong?"
"Grandma, can I talk to you for a second?"
I bent down to match Olivia's small stature.
"There's a weird noise coming from the storage room."
"A weird noise? From the storage room?"
"Yeah, the place Mom called the storage room."
"Oh, I see. The room that was supposed to be my workshop."
"But everyone is outside at the party today, so what's going on?"
"It's kind of scary." Olivia had a delicate side and often feared the dark or deserted places.
"I understand. Let's quietly go and check it out together."
Olivia nodded. We headed to the room that was supposed to be my workshop. Indeed, there was a faint noise. I quietly opened the door. As expected, something was hidden behind the pile of boxes, but I couldn't tell what it was. Then suddenly, I heard voices.
"Hey, it really feels like a secret hideout now, doesn't it?"
Tom's voice?
"Right? Don't you think I'm pretty smart, Dad?" "Yeah, you're much smarter."
A voice full of admiration. I hadn't heard it in a long time.
"So, Dad, what about the thing I asked you for?" "Oh, right. Here it is."
I heard the sound of something being taken out.
"Wow, thank you so much, Dad. I've always wanted something like this. James is so stingy. He doesn't even give me a single piece of jewelry. If something like this is fine, I'll give you as much as you want, Lily. In return."
This isn't good. If Olivia hears the rest. I quickly took Olivia outside.
"Hey, Grandma, that was Mom and Grandpa's voice, right?"
Oh no, she heard it. I instinctively put my hand on my forehead.
"Don't worry about it, Grandma. Grandpa has been giving Mom presents for a while."
"What? Wait a minute, so Grandpa hasn't been giving anything to you, Olivia?" Olivia silently shook her head.
"Grandma, Grandpa waits until I'm not around. He only comes when it's just Mom. That's why he was so happy when this house was built, right?"
I couldn't help but sigh and hugged Olivia. What a thing for a child to realize. At that moment, an idea came to me.
"Hey, where's your dad right now?" "At the party, outside, right? Could you call him for me? Tell him to come quietly."
Understanding what I meant, Olivia quickly went to fetch her father. Given that he was the guest of honor today, it took him about 30 minutes to slip away and join us. James peeked into the room from behind the boxes. Inside, there were clearly flirtatious conversations and atmosphere. However, it was obvious that Tom was the proactive one, and Lily seemed to be half-heartedly going along with it. James listened intently for a while, then nodded as if he understood, and led me outside.
"Hey, Mom. Can you leave this matter to me for a while?" "What do you mean for a while?" "I've had my suspicions about Lily for a while now."
Had he noticed something all along?
"I've been keeping an eye on her but couldn't get any solid evidence. I'm sorry for using the room I made for you like this. Let me handle it."
James grinned as he said this. 3 months after that party, on a certain day.
"How did you know? I can't accept this."
Just as my husband and I were about to open the door that James had called us to, we heard Lily's shrill voice.
"What's going on? I'll go check it out."
"Yes, go ahead." Did Tom notice the slight smile on my lips as I said this? I felt the large envelope in my bag, then slowly followed Tom to the living room where the voices were coming from.
"Hey, what's going on? We can hear you from outside." "Oh, Dad, listen to this. He's suddenly talking about divorce." "What? James, what's this all about?"
James chuckled softly.
"It's not sudden. Lily has been cheating on me for a long time." "That's a lie."
Lily was clearly flustered.
"It's not a lie. I have proof. I can show it any time. Oh, and I've talked to a lawyer, he'll be here soon." "What? You've been doing all this behind my back? You've been doubting me all this time?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of issues with you, Lily. But why are you so surprised by this, Dad? James glanced at Tom.
Well, she's your important wife, so. Even if she's important, normal people don't meet alone in a closed room like that, right?
Tom gasped and looked at James. James's expressionless face strongly conveyed his usual serious anger.
What do you mean, proof? And here, now. What are you saying with Olivia around?
Only now did Lily bring up Olivia's name.
I want Olivia to hear this too. She's known something was wrong with you for a long time. No way. Olivia, you suspected your mom?
Suspecting means you're not sure. Mom, you were obvious. With that, Olivia, now a 6th grader, glared at her mother with all the puritanical righteousness of adolescence.
Mom, you've been mooching gifts off Grandpa for a while now. That's because I just happened to meet him, and he gave them to me. That's all. How can you call that mooching? What's wrong with gladly accepting gifts someone offers?
Well, that's news to me. I stepped into the conversation.
Sophia, I didn't call for you.
Even if you didn't call for me, I have something for you. I pulled a green paper, a signed and sealed divorce paper, from the envelope and thrust it at Tom.
What's this? Another joke? What are you saying? This isn't a joke. This is the culmination of all my feelings towards you.
My voice was eerily calm. Maybe that angered him, as Tom shouted at me.
I won't allow this. Even if you don't, I've consulted a lawyer with James. And I know you've been flirting with Lily. You've been using that room as your hideout.
I signaled to James. He quickly took out his phone and contacted someone. Almost immediately, the doorbell rang. James, can we come in now? It was Henry's voice. Olivia swiftly slipped out and opened the front door.
Welcome, Uncle Henry, Aunt Mia. Perfect timing, Olivia. Thank you.
I heard Mia's voice too. Along with them, a man in a suit entered. The lawyer James and I had consulted.
What the, you two?
Tom looked shocked.
Yeah, about this house. I'll explain, Henry. We're planning to give half of this house to Henry and Mia. What?
Lily's voice cracked.
Yeah, I was surprised when my brother told me, but with the divorce, it's perfect timing. But the divorce isn't decided yet.
You're the only one who thinks that. James firmly addressed Lily.
That's right, Lily. We have plenty of evidence of your affairs. What do you mean by plenty?
Tom reacted immediately.
Well, seeing is believing,
said the lawyer, opening his laptop and showing the screen to everyone. It displayed a list of video files.
Let's start with the most recent one.
The video began. The familiar place shown was the room that was supposed to be my workshop but had been turned into storage. The place Tom called his hideout. In the video, a man I had never seen before was moving around freely.
Lily, what is this? I don't know. This is a trap to frame me.
Well, it was a trap. You never noticed the camera in that room, did you, Lily? A camera. Lily screamed.
Yes, a camera. One was in the room you called your hideout. You piled stuff at the entrance to block the view and put a couch in the empty space, inviting someone in through the door that leads outside. Now, who is this person?
I don't know. Lily shook her head vehemently.
Even if you say that, we've already identified them. What? Look at this partner,
the lawyer said, switching the footage.
And this one, they're all different, right?
The lawyer switched to footage from a camera on the fence, showing different men each time. As the lawyer mentioned, the north-facing room had a door that led directly outside. It was initially designed as a loading area for materials, but it seemed Lily had been sneaking men in and out through that door.
That means?
James prompted the lawyer to continue.
Each time, it's a different person you met online. What? You're saying this in front of the kids? Mom, stop making excuses and using me.
Olivia interrupted, shouting.
This was Grandma's workshop. Why did you use it for this? A workshop? Are you still doing that worthless stuff?
Tom, annoyed by the purpose of the room he didn't know about, suddenly turned and shouted at me.
It's not worthless, Dad,
said Mia, Henry's wife, stepping in. What do you know, Mia?
I know a lot. I've been a fan of Sophia's since she was a lecturer. What? A lecturer? A fan?
Tom looked at Mia in confusion. Mia nodded. She had been one of my students when I taught handcrafts. She was always enthusiastic in class and would bombard me with questions after the lessons. When I decided to quit teaching to focus on being a handcraft artist, she was so upset that she cried. That incident led to her occasionally coming over for tea, where she happened to meet Henry, who was visiting. The two eventually got married.
How come you didn't know about this, Dad? Mom's earnings are the reason Henry and James could go to good schools and get decent jobs. Earnings? What are you talking about?
I quietly pulled out my laptop and showed the screen to Tom, detailing my earnings during the time Tom was recuperating and while he thought I was just doing part-time work. These records included payments for commissioned works and other transactions. The current balance was substantial.
What? $400,000?
That's right.
I want to enjoy a comfortable retirement too.
Tom muttered to himself, with that much money, but I cut him off.
But I'm not spending another cent on you.
That's why I'm presenting you with this.
I won't accept this.
Oh, and here are the receipts for the gifts you gave Lily. I pulled out a crumpled bundle of receipts and shoved them at Tom. Bags, jewelry. Have you ever bought me anything like this since we got married?
No. But it's important to keep a good relationship with your daughter-in-law. She might take care of us someday. I don't care. I never planned to rely on either of our sons' families. That's why I saved this much. You forgot, but do you remember when you angrily knocked my work off the kitchen table? Do you know how much that was worth?
I let out all the frustration that had been building up.
That was silver filigree. Silver? That was silver?
Tom looked at me in disbelief.
There were even small gems. I was assembling those pieces for a formal commission. But you should have told me. I did. I told you it was my work from the start.
I firmly stated.
But that was just part-time. I became a lecturer. You never noticed my hard work.
Tom fell silent, struggling to find words.
Did you two know about this?
He asked his sons. Yeah, we knew.
We knew Mom stayed up late working, and we knew her eyesight got worse because of it. She did everything she could to send us to the schools we wanted and still managed all the housework perfectly. But you never did anything for her.
Their words filled me with a warm sense of gratitude.
I can't believe you would treat your own wife like that, Tom.
Mia said, her voice firm.
And using the room that was supposed to be her workshop as a hideout? That's unforgivable. But a north-facing room isn't good for much. It makes sense to use it as storage, Tom retorted. Actually, north-facing light is ideal for creating artwork. That's why she chose it.
Mia countered.
And the back entrance? It was meant for easy material deliveries. But you never wanted to listen to any of this, did you? Well, I never imagined that work could be so valuable. Tom, look at this.
Mia said, showing everyone an account on her phone.
Isn't this?
Lily's eyes widened in shock.
She's a famous influencer.
Yes.
And you like her, right, Lily? The accessories she's wearing were made by Sophia. They're very popular.
Lily was speechless.
And look at this.
Mia continued, revealing Lily's account.
Who did you have dinner with here? It certainly wasn't James. Yeah, I don't remember going out to dinner with you like this.
and you haven't invited me out in ages. When we do go out, it's usually all four of us, with Olivia.
But dining out with you guys is just at a casual restaurant.
Lily stammered, looking around nervously.
So what, Mom? You were embarrassed to go to casual restaurants with us? It's not that, but sometimes I want to dress up and have a nice meal in front of a handsome man. What's wrong with that?
That's wrong. I couldn't help but voice my exasperation.
Lily, do you even understand what you're saying? And it looks like you paid for those meals yourself. You knew that?
Of course, James and Henry nodded in unison. At that party, when you were getting cozy with Dad, we didn't have concrete proof yet. But it set off enough alarms that we had you investigated thoroughly.
Why did you do this? Stop it! I'm tired of it, Mom!
Olivia suddenly shouted.
Did you think no one would find out? What do you mean? If Mia could find your account and see your photos, so could the moms of my classmates.
Lily's face paled.
Plus, the moms of my classmates love gossip and speculation. They all know what you've been up to. Do you understand how I felt when my classmates mentioned it?
With that, Olivia burst into tears, her face burning with shame. Poor thing, Mia said, patting Olivia's back gently.
So, what exactly do you all want from us?
Tom asked in a strained voice.
Don't say US. You have your own faults, Tom. I'm not to blame. Over something like this. How dare you say that?
James said, his fist shaking with anger. Now, the lawyer intervened. First, Lily, your husband is demanding a divorce on the grounds of your infidelity. You will undoubtedly lose and have to pay alimony and child support, which is your daughter's right.
Wait, child support? Does that mean? I'm not going to live with Mom after the divorce.
Olivia said firmly.
That's not all. I'd like to transfer schools. Do you understand? This is all your fault. My friends whisper and look at me strangely because of you.
Lily fell to her knees. Olivia turned her gaze away from her mother. Meanwhile, Tom started to panic.
I didn't cheat. Whether or not it's considered cheating is irrelevant. You've been emotionally abusive to me for years. Emotional abuse?
Tom looked at me as if he didn't understand.
You might not see it that way, but I've had enough. I want a divorce for irreconcilable differences, or whatever you want to call it. I want to live my life without worrying about you. I'm staying in this house. You can continue living in your apartment. That's not possible.
It is. The lawyer interjected. Considering that Sophia contributed significantly to the funding for this house, intending it to be a multi-generational home, she has every right to live here.
You've been eyeing other people's wives and neglecting Mom.
Tom fell to his knees. Eventually, both couples divorced. Lily ended up living in a cheap apartment, working hard to pay alimony and child support for her monthly visits with Olivia. Tom, having to manage his own finances for the first time, realized how carelessly he had handled money all these years. Due to the circumstances, there was no alimony. With no alimony or property division, his bank account looked pathetic compared to mine. He had to move into a cheap apartment, far from the comfortable living he was used to. Well, he brought it on himself.
Good morning, Aunt Mia, Grandma. Breakfast is ready. Great, it looks delicious as always.
Since then, James, Olivia, Henry, and Mia moved into our new home. We all share meals together. And Olivia says she enjoys meals much more now. Mia and I continue working in the workshop. Having a capable assistant makes creating so much more enjoyable. Olivia transferred to a new school within commuting distance and is studying hard to prepare for exams. Henry and Mia will likely start a family soon, making our home even more lively. I intend to support this unique family as much as I can.